Well, hello and welcome to another hardcore Nuzlocke. Today we are back in Pokemon FireRed attempting a flying-only hardcore Nuzlocke. There's a flying type right there. Unfortunately, we won't be able to encounter it, but Kanto does have its fair share of flying types, and some you are probably naming off right now off the top of your head, but there may be a few surprises. Before we get to talking too much about the encounters, however, I did want to take a moment to thank you guys for the continued support. Our little channel is growing very nicely. The last couple of videos have been doing extremely well, and it's all thanks to you guys. I truly do hope you guys enjoy these videos as much as I enjoy putting them out. That is enough waffling on. Let's get to the encounters. Now, if we take a look at the Nuzlocke tracker here, there are some Pokemon that you guys were probably thinking about as far as our flying encounters. Pidgey, Spearow, Zubat, Doduo, Scyther, Gyarados, Aerodactyl, the legendary birds of Kanto. Those are all great Pokemon. We're not going to use the legendaries, and we can get Moltres on Mount Ember after we beat Blaine, after you do the Sevi Island stuff. But there are 4 other encounters that we can get our hands on. They don't show up on the Nuzlocke tracker because they are not wild encounters, they are evolutions, and one of them is a trade Pokemon. Our starter Charmander evolves into a Charizard, which is a flying type. We can get ourselves a Caterpie in Viridian Forest and evolve it into a Butterfree, which is a flying type. We can get our hands on a Dratini in the Celadon Game Corner or in the Safari Zone that'll eventually evolve into a Dragonite. And then in Vermilion, we can actually trade a Gal, a Spearow, for a Farfetch'd, and that rounds out the potential encounters to 11. We haven't had this many potential encounters in a very long time, and I'm excited to get started in this run. I do know some of these Pokemon are very good, and I know some of them leave a little bit to be desired because of the physical special split not being a thing, but I'm excited to attempt this run. And of course, we named our rival Algorithm because why? That's right, friends. We are trying to beat the Algorithm both in real life and in game. You guys have done a great job of helping me subdue the Algorithm, but we haven't quite beaten it. To beat the Algorithm, I'm gonna need the likes, the comments, and more subscriptions. Seriously though, you guys are so awesome. It has been great to see all of the comments, all of the likes. The subs have been popping. This channel is growing very nicely, and it's all thanks to you guys. I started this joke a long time ago because somebody said I need a reoccurring joke, I need to engage the audience, things like that. And honestly, I did this stupid joke as a one-off. I thought it was funny in my head. I put it to a video, and I have seen numerous comments. This is for the Algorithm. This is to help beat the Algorithm. So thank you guys for that continued support. We're going to keep doing the joke every single episode. So I hope you don't get tired of it. But nonetheless, it's time to get past this part and actually start getting into our encounters. Our first encounter is a Charmander named Airfoil. It has a hasty plus speed minus defense nature, and it is not a flying type, but it will be when it evolves. There is a name theme, as is with every run. Can you guys guess it? This is the interactive part of the video that I hope you guys have enjoyed throughout. Our first actual encounter is a Pidgey named Lift with a sassy plus special defense minus speed nature. Minus speed is never great, but I will take this flying type nonetheless. It has the Keen Eye ability, so we can't lose accuracy. I like that. Next is a Spearow named Cord. It has a Brave nature that's plus attack and minus speed. Oh, we got a plus speed nature and now we have 2 minus speed natures. That's not great, but I will take this Pokemon. It has Keen Eye, which prevents the loss of accuracy, which is great. I just don't know how much we're going to use this Pokemon, but early teammate nonetheless. Pitch here, we're going to have to be careful how we say that. Pitch with a P has a Rash plus special attack minus special defense nature that's perfect for a future Butterfree. Butterfree is a beast Pokemon early game. Late game, it's fodder, but honestly, Butterfree is amazing, and it is the key to winning the first gym against Brock. The strategy to defeat Brock is relatively simple yet very time consuming. This battle took almost 5 minutes of real time to beat. We lead with Lift to start lowering accuracy on the Geodude with Sand Attack. Geodude has 2 moves, Tackle, which is 95% accurate and misses, and Defense Curl. It has no super effective rock type moves, so we can technically quote unquote set up against this Pokemon. We're going to get it to -6 with Sand Attack, and then we are going to send out Cord. Cord is going to start lowering its attack with Growl. Tackle is a normal type move. Normal is physical in this game. Once we get it to -6 with Growl, we are then going to send out Pitch. We're going to start setting up Hardens to get our defense to +6. I need that just in case we get hit with a quad super effective Rock Tomb from the Onix. You'll also notice that we edged Pitch close to level 15, which is not illegal. We started the battle below the level cap. At level 15, we learned Sleep Powder. With Compound Eyes, the move is about 97% accurate, and it does make this battle a little bit cheeky. After we set up to +6 with Harden, we then take the Geodude down to yellow health with Confusion. We actually get hit with a tackle down to 37 HP, which is unfortunate, but we finish off the Geodude with 1 more Confusion. Out comes Onix. We fire off a Sleep Powder that puts the Onix immediately to sleep, and that is amazing. We fire off a Confusion that doesn't quite do half of Onix's health, and until we get to Vermilion City, I can't EV train Special Attack. Fire off another Confusion against the Onix, and it takes it to red health, and Onix wakes up and misses a Rock Tomb because of the lower accuracy of the move. We finish off the Onix with 40 HP. Very nice. In Mount Moon, we can buy our next encounter Magikarp for 500 Poké Dollars. This guy thinks he's ripping us off by selling us a dud of a Pokemon, and I remember in Generation 1 buying this Pokemon because I didn't know what it was, and evolving this thing into Gyarados. Unfortunately, I never really used it on the team because it has kind of a terrible moveset starting out, but it is a great Pokemon nonetheless. You think you got one over on me, but I win, dude. We name the Magikarp Laminar. It has a Impish plus defense minus special attack nature. That's fine. I can evolve this thing immediately. I need to go struggle and do some EV training, literally struggle against some wild Mankeys, because we only have Splash, but we can have a beastly Pokemon very soon. Before we do that, we grab our next encounter, a Zubat named Yaw. It has a Naughty plus attack minus special defense nature. This is not going to evolve into a Crobat because of how FireRed works, but we can do some EV training with this, as well as Laminar. We fully EV trained Laminar in attack, so I was grabbing some speed EVs, getting to the final level to evolve into Gyarados. What I want to take a look at is Laminar's stats before we evolve it. Its attack stat is at 26. I have a maxed attack EV training, so I'm hoping we're going to have a pretty beastly Pokemon. You can go to Viridian Forest and lose the power points of Splash relatively easy off of Wild Metapause or Kakunas. It doesn't take that much time with Speed Up, and then you can come struggle your way until you're about to die, go heal up, and rinse and repeat the process. I did buy a bunch of potions, so I didn't have to do that. And now we have ourselves a beastly evolution, Laminar evolving into a Gyarados. What a monster of a Pokemon. You guys know this thing is amazing. Everybody knows. It was quite the neat little trick that Game Freak tried to play on us way back in the late 90s. Gyarados' attack stat is 73. Oh my goodness, that is almost 50 in attack just by evolution. Wow. I spent a ton of time EV training both Yaw and Laminar on Wild Mankeys on Route 22, getting them 255 EVs into attack apiece. I want to train the rest of the team on the trainers on Route 24 and 25, Nugget Bridge and the Cape. But before we can do that, we've got to defeat our rival here, Algorithm, in Cerulean City. I lead with our newly evolved Laminar to get the Intimidate drop on Pidgeotto. And I decided to start firing off some tackles. We did learn Bite, but because it's Dark type, it's special in this generation. Gust doesn't do very much to us. Tackle, unfortunately, is not enough for a 2-shot, so we have to tank one more tackle. And then we finish it off with a Bite. Our rival is not going to be an issue. Out comes Ratatata, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, and we one-shot it with Tackle. We're going to get access to Secret Power here soon, which is a base 70 power move that we're going to put on Laminar for the foreseeable future. Squirtle doesn't take a lot of damage from Tackle and starts using Withdrawal, which is annoying. We go for another Tackle to take this thing to yellow health and get hit with a Tackle in return. A third Tackle is not enough to KO the Squirtle. We get hit with one more Tackle, and we finish it off with a Tackle. Very early game battle. Last for our rival is Abra, and it doesn't know anything but Teleport, so we take it out with a single Tackle. Against Misty, we have some bulk on our team at this point, but I decided to lead with Laminar because I want a resistance to water. I have the held Personberry just in case they go for Water Pulse, but I think this is going to be a relatively easy battle. Secret Power one-shots the Staryu. That is amazing. Out comes Starmie. We are never going to outspeed this thing. It hits us with a Swift that does 10 HP of damage, and I fire back with a Secret Power that actually kind of low rolls. Does right about half. The next Secret Power doesn't quite take it out, so Misty goes for a Super Potion. I hit it with a Bite that takes it back down to middle health. We get hit with one more Swift down to 44 HP, and a follow-up Secret Power is enough to win us the second gym badge. In this house in Vermilion City, this girl inside wants a Spearow to trade us for her Farfetch'd. I did catch an extra Spearow for this trade. We technically caught this thing on the same route that we caught Cord, but I'm trading it for a Farfetch'd that's its encounter is Vermilion City. It's not 100% legit, but look, Farfetch'd isn't that great of a Pokemon either, right? With some help from some people who are way smarter than me, we have a Farfetch'd named Drag that we got in Vermilion City at level 3 because that's the level that we had Spearow. It has an Adamant plus attack minus special attack nature. That's amazing for a normal flying type Pokemon. It has the ability Keen Eye. It has the held item Stick, which ups its critical hit chance. You have everything going for you. You just are terrible. I really want to use this Pokemon nonetheless, so welcome to the Team Drag. I don't care what they say about you. We're going to use you. Next up is our rival Algorithm on the SSN, and he leads with Pidgeotto, and I lead with Yaw because we are trying to get some levels here. I go for Wing Attack turn 1, and it does a significant amount of damage, but Pidgeotto hits us with a Sand Attack, which is annoying. It then out prioritizes us with a Quick Attack to do a little bit of damage, and we take it out with a Wing Attack. Out next is Kadabra, so I decide to swap into Pitch, who tanks a Confusion, but gets confused in the process. We then get hit with a Kinesis, which is annoying. And then, of course, we hurt ourselves in Confusion, so I swap into Cord. Kadabra misses a Disable. We then get hit with a Confusion, and we one-shot the Kadabra with a Peck. Out comes Raticate. We one-shot it with a critical hit Peck. And last but not least for our rival is Wartortle. We hit it with a Peck that doesn't quite do half, about a third, and we get hit with a Water Gun down to 26 HP. I stay in and go for another Peck. Barring a critical hit, we survive this, which we do on 8 HP, and we finish off the rival with Cord. Very nice. Going into the battle with Lieutenant Surge, I was very worried about his Pokemon. They hit everything we have for super effective damage, and they're very fast. Voltorb outspeeds us turn 1 and hits us with a Shockwave that does 24 HP of damage. We do connect with Sleep Powder, which is the only strategy I have. Turn 2 Voltorb stays asleep, and we hit it with a very strong Confusion for well over half of its health, and then we outspeed it to hit it with another Confusion, meaning that was actually a speed tie, and we lost it twice. Pikachu comes out, we outspeed it to put it asleep turn 1, and Surge goes for a full heal. Interesting. We hit it with a confusion down to very low red health, and Surge goes for a super potion. We hit this thing with confusion down to even lower red health, and because of the heal turn, we outspeed it and take it out with one more confusion. It was a critical hit, but obviously that didn't matter. Raichu is out next, and this is what I was scared for, because we don't outspeed this thing. It fires off a beastly shockwave, and it cleanly knocks out Pitch. I love Butterfree, and losing Butterfree in the third gym badge just sucks. Unfortunately, I didn't have another plan for Butterfree for future battles. We send out Yaw to confuse the Raichu immediately, and we get hit with a Thunder Wave. The Cherry Berry is on Pitch. Of course it is. Raichu is confused and hurts itself in confusion next turn, and we fire off a Stab. Not very effective wing attack, but it's going to do the most damage because of the EV training. Raichu's confused and fires off a double team through the confusion, and of course, we stay paralyzed. Raichu then hurts itself in confusion, and if we can break through paralysis, we win, which we do, and we win. We only lost one Pokemon, but it was a beautiful soul nonetheless. I don't care what people say, I love Butterfree. This one hurts. It was a huge force on the team. Pulled its weight tenfold, getting us through two very, very tough gym battles. We didn't even get the chance to EV train you. Pitch, you will never be replaced on the team. The hole that you left can never be filled in any of our hearts. You are a god amongst birds. Unfortunately, you are gone, but you get to take that giant blimp ride in the sky, and we will think about you every single moment. Outside of Celadon, we can go in this house and talk to this lady here, and she gives us a huge stab move for all of our Pokemon that can learn it, Fly. The only bad thing about Fly is it is 95% accurate. I hate using moves that are less than 100% accurate. Also, as we come out to Route 16, we can get our next Pokemon encounter, which is a Doduo named Camber. It has a timid plus speed, minus attack nature. Plus speed's nice, minus attack is not. Welcome to the team. I don't know if you can fill the hole from the Pokemon that we just lost. I need to head into this building in Celadon to talk to this guy to get the coin case. It's very important that we get this in this run. The importance of the coin case is because our next encounter can actually be bought in the game corner, a Dratini or a Scyther. Both Pokemon can be found here or in the Safari Zone. Dratini can be fished up with a Super Rod, and Scyther can be found in the first area at a 1% encounter. I don't know which of these two Pokemon I want. Scyther I've played with before, Dratini I've played with as well, and I think we're going to buy the Dratini because it is cheaper. We also can buy ourselves a slew of TMs here, like Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, for that future Dragonite. So, we gotta do some saving, or some gambling, which, I mean, gambling's fun, but I've spent a ton of time EV training, and we really gotta get this run running. Some of the NPCs that you talk to in Kanto are just like, I'm on vacation with my brother and my boyfriend. Celadon is so pretty. And we go talk to the brother and he's like, I'm on vacation. Woo! And then you go talk to the boyfriend and he's like, why did she bring her brother? Sir, this is a children's game and I know what you're insinuating. Most of my audience probably knows what you're insinuating, but... And then there's this famous NPC. This gym is great. It's full of women. They didn't change the... That's all the way from the original games. They changed this in Let's Go, but... Oh, FireRed. Moving on. Next up is the gym trainer I was least scared of, Erica. She's weak to flying type moves, and we have Yaw that is quad resistance to grass, and of course we resist poison moves. We also one-shot the Victory Bell with a single wing attack. Tangela comes out and we one-shot it with a single wing attack. Vileplume is next up and we don't quite one-shot it with a wing attack. However, it whiffs a Stun Spore. I do have a held Cherry Berry just in case. Erica goes for a hyper potion. We hit a wing attack to a very, very low red health, and we fire off one more to win us the 4th gym badge. It's at this point that I have enough money to change it into coins. Haha, change coins. Anyway, these are the jokes. I'll be here all video. We have a Dratini. That's what happened. We named that Dratini Turbulence. It has a mild plus special attack minus defense nature, and for a future Dragonite that can learn a lot of special attacking moves. Amazing. You know, as we approach Algo in the Pokemon Tower, he says, "What brings you here? Is your Pokemon dead?" It's alive! That's messed up, dude. Pitch is not alive. And how dare you? I cannot believe that you would just joke about that. Let's go, dude. Yeah, let's go. It's on. It is on. He leads with his trusty Pidgeotto, and I lead with Laminar. It gets off a quick attack that doesn't do much damage, and we take this out with a single critical hit secret power. Out next for our rival is Growlithe. Secret power doesn't quite one-shot it because of the Intimidate drop, but Ember doesn't do much, and we take it out with another secret power. Out comes Execute, and I decide it is time to swap out. We swap Lifton immediately into a Hypnosis because why wouldn't Hypnosis miss? So we need to swap it out again because I'm not playing this game. Yaw comes out on a Leech Seed. Again, annoying. We decide to stay in and take out the Execute with a single wing attack. Out next for our rival is Kadabra. We lose a little bit of health to Leech Seed, and we one-shot the Kadabra with wing attack. Last but not least is his Wartortle. I do not care about Leech Seed sapping us. We are out for blood. We do more than half health with wing attack. We tank a very weak water gun. We lose a little bit of health to Leech Seed, and we take out the Wartortle with one more wing attack. Let's go. Next up, we have one of the hugest evolutions on the team. Airfoil is finally evolving into that beastly Charizard, and we can get a little bit of type diversity on the team. We have been training this thing to be a mixed attacker, both special and physical attack, so we're going to teach it some cool moves and add it to the team. Sorry, Camber. For Koga, I decide to go with Drag. Drag can learn the setup move Swords Dance. That's amazing. We go for Swords Dance turn 1, and we get hit with a critical hit Sludge down to 61 HP. That's pretty annoying, but we can survive another one, so I go for one more Swords Dance, and Coughing goes for Toxic. Luckily, Zap is a little smarter than that, and we had a held Pecha Berry to cure off the poison. We then one-shot the Coughing with a Stab, +4 boosted Slash. I go for Slash because it's a little bit stronger than Aerial Ace. Muck comes out, we're faster, and we one-shot it with Slash. Out comes his second Coughing, and we one-shot it with Slash. And last but not least is his Wheezing, which surprisingly goes down to a single Slash, winning us a very, very easy gym badge. I do manage to catch a Scyther in the Safari Zone. We name it Roll. It has a Relax plus Defense minus Speed nature, but after losing one Bug Flying type, I think you're just going to sit in the box, my friend. I don't want to lose you too. Next, we have our rival in Silph Company, and I'm still pretty pissed about the things that he said in the Pokemon Tower. I go for a Mirror Match Lift versus Pidgeot, and I go for Feather Dance turn 1 to lower its attack. We get hit with a fairly weak wing attack because of the lowered attack, and we fire off a wing attack of our own that doesn't quite do half. We get hit with another weak wing attack, and I decide to go for Fly, hoping we can KO the Pidgeot. Fly connects, and it doesn't quite KO it, leaving it on a sliver of health, and we get hit with a Feather Dance of its own. I go for Priority Quick Attack, knocking out the Pidgeot. I tank the incoming Intimidate from the Growlithe and swap into Laminar. Laminar takes a Flame Wheel to the face as it swaps in, and of course it gets burned, but that doesn't matter because a Stab, super effective Surf, cleanly one-shots the Growlithe. Out comes Execute, so I swap back into Lift, and we evade the Leech Seed on the swap in. A Stab, super effective wing attack, cleanly one-shots the Execute, bringing out the Alakazam. I figure we got enough gas in the tank to take out Alakazam. It does outspeed us to use Future Sight, and we fire off a very strong wing attack. That, of course, doesn't KO. Alakazam just goes for Future Sight again, which doesn't work, and we take out the Alakazam with another wing attack, bringing out his last Pokemon, Blastoise. We fire off a wing attack that does about a third, and we get hit with a very weak Water Gun. Level up moveset for Blastoise is terrible. We tank the Future Sight to the face, dropping us to 49 HP. I go for another wing attack that takes this thing to just over a third health, and we take a bite to the face, leaving us at 29 HP. It's a bit of a risk here, but Fly does connect, leaving us unpunished, taking out the Blastoise. Against Sabrina, I decide to lead with Lift because it's fast. I thought we could outspeed most of her Pokemon. We do outspeed the Kadabra, and we cleanly one-shot it with Wing Attack. Mr. Mime comes out, and we outspeed it to hit it with a Wing Attack, but it doesn't one-shot, and Mr. Mime just goes for Calm Mind. Sabrina then uses a Hyper Potion. We fire off another Wing Attack that gets a little bit of a higher roll, one-shotting the Mr. Mime. Venomoth comes out, and it goes down to a stab, super effective Wing Attack. Alakazam comes out, and we do not, in fact, outspeed it, and it hits us with a critical hit Psychic down to 25 HP. We fire off a Wing Attack that drops it into very low red health. I don't want to risk losing Lift, so I decide to swap into Laminar. Sabrina's going to heal with a Hyper Potion anyway. Alakazam then fires off a Calm Mind, trying to get that special attack buff, and we cleanly one-shot it with a single strength from Laminar, winning us the 6th Gym Badge. One of the final additions to the team is Aerodactyl named Pressure. It has a serious neutral nature. We revived this from the old Amber fossil. This Pokemon is insanely fast and very, very good. I've used it before, and I'm excited to add it to the team. I wanted to use Pressure in this fight with Blaine, but there's a double Intimidate from Growlithe and Arcanine, so I go with Laminar that has the special attack move Surf. Just before the level cap, I do learn Rain Dance, so I decide to boost my water type moves and lessen their fire attack moves by setting up a Rain Dance the first turn. Growlithe just whiffs a Fire Blast. We take it out with a single Surf. Out comes Ponyta. The same thing happens. We one-shot it with Surf despite our abysmal special attack. Out comes a Rapidash, and it too actually falls to a single Surf. I didn't think we could one-shot all three of those Pokemon. Last but not least is Arcanine. We take that second Intimidate to the face. Rain continues to fall, and we fire off a stab, a super effective Surf that doesn't take out the Arcanine. It does use Takedown though. Recoil damage? No. Why would it? Why would it? The rain stops, that's no big deal. Blaine uses a Hyper Potion, which means we get back-to-back Surfs, taking out the Arcanine, winning us a very easy 7th Gym Badge. Against Giovanni, I lead with Pressure. We taught it Steel Wing to take out the Rhyhorns. This Pokemon is just great, and I want to show it off. Steel Wing is not enough to take out the Rhyhorns, but we do well over half of its health. Rhyhorn likes to go for Scary Face to try to get the speed advantage. I don't know why. We still outspeed it after one Scary Face to take it out with one more Steel Wing. His second Rhyhorn comes out, and we do almost the same amount of damage with the Steel Wing, and it goes for Scary Face again. -4 to our speed, we still outspeed this thing to take it out with one more Steel Wing. That is insane. I cannot believe it. Out comes Nidoqueen. I decide at this point, because we don't outspeed the Nidoqueen, we're going to set up Agility. We get hit with a very weak Body Slam. I know there's not much that this Pokemon can do, and this brings us up to -2, which is enough to outspeed the Nidoqueen because we get back up to neutral speed with one more Agility, and we get hit with a very weak Body Slam. I then decide I want to fish for that Omni Boost with an Ancient Power. We fire one off, and surprisingly, despite the not very effective damage, we get the Omni Boost. Plus defense, plus attack, plus speed, plus special attacks, plus defense. but we trigger the poison point. Annoying. We get hit with another very weak body slam, and we fire off a neutral wing attack, taking out the Nido Queen. Out comes Nido King. We fire off a wing attack that drops this thing to a sliver of health, and Nido King locks itself into a move with Thrash. This means Giovanni can't heal, and we take it out with one more wing attack. We are sitting at pretty low health as the Doug Trio comes out. We're at 31 health, but we're going to outspeed the speedy Doug Trio, and we're going to one-shot it with a single wing attack. Great Pokemon. Pressure, amazing. Now with the level cap high enough, we can evolve Turbulence into Dragonite, rounding out the team. Unfortunately, this is the point where Lift is going to sit in the box as a backup. We do have some amazing Pokemon just in case we lose any of our teammates, but look at that beastly of a Pokemon. We can't just put this thing in the box, can we? No, not a chance. And with our final fight against Algorithm before we head to the Elite Four, it's time to show off how great Turbulence is. We lead with it against the Pidgeot, and we fire off a Thunderbolt that cleanly one-shots Pidgeot. Out comes Rhyhorn, we swap to Ice Beam and cleanly one-shot the Rhyhorn. Amazing. Out comes Growlithe, the Intimidate doesn't matter. We fire off a Thunderbolt against the Growlithe that cleanly one-shots it. Next up is Execute, so we swap back to Ice Beam and cleanly one-shot it. That is 4 for 4 Pokemon. Out comes Alakazam. We fire off a Thunderbolt against the Alakazam and it doesn't one-shot it. I didn't think it would. Alakazam hits us with a Psychic, and surprisingly enough, Turbulence tanks it. Great. Another Thunderbolt knocks out Alakazam, and last but not least for our rival is his Blastoise. We fire off a very strong Thunderbolt, but it doesn't quite take out the Blastoise, leaving it deep in the red, and it claps back with a very weak bite, so one more Thunderbolt wins us the rival battle, bringing us to the Elite Four. Here is the team leveled up to level 60 before the Elite Four. Laminar the Gyarados with Surf, Earthquake, Dragon Dance, and Strength. Airfoil the Charizard with Flamethrower, Dragon Claw, Return, and Brick Break. Yaw the Golbat with Wing Attack, Poison Fang, Shadow Ball, and Confuse Ray. Turbulence the Dragonite with Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave, and Agility. Drag the Farfetch'd with Aerial Ace, Agility, Swords Dance, and Slash. Last but not least, Pressure the Aerodactyl with Wing Attack, Agility, Ancient Power, and Steel Wing. We are here to beat the Elite Four, and we are here to avenge our fallen friend, Pitch. Laminar and Airfoil are the only two that take neutral damage from Ice. The rest of our team takes super effective damage. Turbulence takes 4 times super effective damage. I think a setup sweep is the way to go, so we lead with Laminar and go for Dragon Dance turn 1. We get hit with a neutral Ice Beam that does 38 HP of damage. I go for Dragon Dance again, and Dugong sets up a Safeguard. I go for one more Dragon Dance. Dugong fires off a decent Ice Beam, doing a little bit of damage and freezing us. Not only do we get frozen, but the next turn, Dugong sets up the Hail. Why not? We stay frozen the next turn. We get hit with an Ice Beam down to 76 HP. The Hail then chips us down to 64 HP, but we defrost, and we take out the Dugong with an Earthquake. As the Cloyster comes out, we get hit with more chip damage from Hail down to 52 HP, and Cloyster annoyingly goes for Protect. That's a smart move, Lorelei, using the chip damage. We get hit with some more Hail damage down to 40 HP, and Cloyster goes for another Protect. Luckily for us, the Hail stops, and we can take out the Cloyster with a single Earthquake, sitting on 40 HP. None of these Pokemon have a priority move. We should be able to one-shot all of them. Slowbro comes out and we one-shot it with an Earthquake. Jinx comes out and we one-shot it with an Earthquake. And last is Lapras, who we fire off an Earthquake against, cleanly one-shotting it, winning us the first Elite Four battle. I had many options when going up against Bruno, but I ultimately decided to go with Pressure. we're going to take the least amount of damage from Rock Tomb. I go for Steel Wing turn 1, which I know is not going to one-shot the Onyx, but it does do well over half of its health, and it does connect with Rock Tomb, which is annoying. The damage isn't a lot, but the speed drop is what is most annoying. One more Steel Wing finishes off the Onyx, and out comes Hitmonchan. We managed to outspeed the Hitmonchan and one-shot it with a stab super effective wing attack. Next up is Machamp. We fire off a stab super effective wing attack against it, leaving it in red health. It fires back with a Rock Tomb that does a very significant amount of damage down to 66 HP and gets one more speed drop. Citrus Berry pulls Machamp out of healing range, and because of our massive speed stat, one more wing attack takes out the Machamp because we outspeed it. Onyx comes out. I decide it's at this point that I need to swap, so I swap in Laminar. We get the Intimidate drop, and Onyx goes for a very weak Iron Tail. A single Surf is enough to take out the Onyx, and last for Bruno is his Hitmonlee. We fire off a very strong Strength deep into the red health, and we get hit with a Mega Kick down to 112 HP. Bruno goes for a full Restore. We knock Hitmonlee back into red health with Strength. Bruno immediately goes for another full Restore. We drop it back into red health with one more Strength, and a final Strength is enough to win us the second Elite Four battle. Of course, against Agatha, we're going to lead with Yaw. We have Shadow Ball, and we resist Poison. Plus, there's a Lumberry that we can find outside of the Elite Four, so we can equip that just in case of any shenanigans. We outspeed the first Gengar, and we one-shot it with a single Shadow Ball. Out next is her Haunter. Of course, we're going to outspeed it, and of course, we're going to one-shot it with Shadow Ball. Out next is her Ace Gengar, who outspeeds us, but misses a Hypnosis, and Shadow Ball doesn't quite take it out, leaving it deep in the red health. Citrus Berry then activates, pulling this thing out of healing range. It misses another Hypnosis, and we take it out with one more Shadow Ball. It's a mirror match then between the Golbats. We fire off a Confuse Ray. Golbat hurts itself in Confusion turn 1. I fire off a wing attack that takes it deep into yellow health, and then it breaks through Confusion to hit us with an Air Cutter. One more wing attack is enough to take out the Golbat. Last for Agatha is her Arbok. I decide to go ahead and confuse this thing before we swap it out. It hurts itself in Confusion, and I swap into Laminar. We get an Intimidate drop on the Arbok as we swap in, but it just goes for Screech. An Earthquake is enough to take out the Arbok, winning us the third Elite Four battle. Against Lance, we are going to lead with Turbulence. His lead Gyarados has a quad weakness to electricity. That's a Pokemon law. It has to go down to a single electric type move, so we fire off a quad super effective Thunderbolt on turn 1, and of course Gyarados does go down in a single shot. Out comes a Dragonair. We fire off an Ice Beam against the Dragonair, and it gets a critical hit, one-shotting it. I don't know if that crit mattered. We're about to find out because he brings out his next Dragonair, and I fire off an Ice Beam that cleanly one-shots it. The critical hit did not matter. Dragonite comes out next. It has a quad weakness to Ice, so we fire off a quad super effective Ice Beam, and we cleanly one-shot the Dragonite. This brings us into Aerodactyl with full health. Aerodactyl does, of course, outspeed us and hits us with a super effective Ancient Power that if it had crit, I think it would have one-shot us. We fire back with a Thunderbolt, and it does a significant amount of damage deep into the red health, and it gets the paralysis. That's great, but Lance has 2 full restores. At this point, I decide, let's have a mirror match, Aerodactyl versus Pressure. I swap Pressure out, and Lance goes for a full restore. I then fire off an Ancient Power that drops Aerodactyl deep into the red health, and we get hit with a scary face. That's annoying. Lance goes for a full restore on the next turn, and we take this thing right back down to red health with another Ancient Power. We get hit with an Ancient Power from Aerodactyl, taking us to 74 HP, and one more Ancient Power beats the Elite Four. The only thing standing between us and winning this run is Champion Algorithm. It is time to beat the Algorithm one last time. Against Pidgeot, I lead with Airfoil because he hasn't seen any screen time, and we fire off a Stab Flamethrower that doesn't quite one-shot the Pidgeot. We do get hit with a Sand Attack in retaliation, which is annoying, and Algorithm has decided it's going to be a cheater and uses a full restore. We then fire off a Flamethrower that does one-shot the Pidgeot because it was a critical hit. This baits out the Blastoise, so I swap into Turbulence. Blastoise misses a Hydro Pump, and we fire off a Thunderbolt that one-shots the Blastoise because it was a critical hit. That's 2 critical hits back to back. That's amazing. Out comes Rhydon. We fire off an Ice Beam that cleanly one-shots it, and Alakazam comes out. I decide I don't want to stay in with Turbulence, and I swap into Laminar, and Alakazam goes for Reflect. We get hit with a Psychic on the next turn, and Surf does about a third. We get hit with another Psychic that drops us down to 78 HP, and we fire off a Surf that drops Alakazam to about a third of its health. I don't know if we can survive another Psychic. I don't want to risk the crit, so I swap into Airfoil, who gets hit with a Psychic down to 97 HP. We crit a Flamethrower to take out the Alakazam, which doesn't matter, and out comes Executor. The Reflect wears off, so instead of staying in, I decide to swap into Drag as Executor sets up the light screen. I go for an Aerial Ace because Drag hasn't seen any screen time and it does well over half. Executor then hits us with a Sleep Powder. I had grandeurs of using Drag and Swords Dance sweep the entirety of the champion, but his lead Pidgeot does have Whirlwind. We get hit with Egg Bomb that drops us down to 81 HP. We shake the Sleep and KO the Executor with one more Aerial Ace. Out comes Arcanine, so we soak up the Intimidate, and we swap into Pressure. We get hit with a Flamethrower on the swap-in that doesn't do a lot of damage. Light Screen fades, and we fire off an Ancient Power that doesn't quite KO the Arcanine, and we get hit with another weak Flamethrower. Again, our rival decides it's going to cheat and uses another full restore. We fire off one more Ancient Power, critical hit, KOing the Arcanine, winning the entire run. The Flying type run is something I've wanted to do for a while in FireRed. I've watched some other Nuzlockers do this run, and some Pokemon were forgotten. Believe it or not, Pitch was one of the ones that was forgotten in a couple of different runs, and I've seen people forget Aerodactyl and Charizard, things like that. So I wanted to at least show off all of the different Pokemon. We didn't use them all on the team, but I did show off all of the available Flying types in Kanto. Our team of Airfoil, Pressure, Laminar, Yaw, Drag, and Turbulence was amazing. Not you, Drag. But the rest of the team did great, and they all had some screen time, and they all helped us to get here. Cord, Lift, they're in the box, but they did what they did best and got us here. Pitch, nobody can take your place. You are the most amazing Pokemon. I don't care what the haters say. Butterfree is a beast. I love running through FireRed. FireRed is a very quick game to get through opposed to some of these other games, and Flying types have been amazing. I've used them in both FireRed and Emerald now, had a ton of fun doing it, and I can't wait to use Flying types in some other runs. I do have some other plans to use some different Pokemon in some other games, obviously, but that's for next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've had so much fun doing it. As always, if you did enjoy the video, you can let me know by leaving a like, leaving a comment. Consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. Help me beat that algorithm. Every week, the channel is doing great. And one more time before we get out of here, thank you guys so much for the continued support. Without you guys, this stuff is not that possible. We do work a full-time job, and I do try to do this as a side hobby. Maybe one day, it won't just be a hobby. Thanks again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one.